Okay, guys, in this video, I'm going to talk about the continuation about finding the area when they give you polynomials. In this case, we're going to be focusing on triangles, as well as I'm going to talk about volume using polynomials. So first, we're going to start with the area. So we're going to start with this problem. So in this problem, they're asking us, what is the area of this triangle? So to find the area of the triangle, we're going to have to use an equation. The equation is going to be base times height divided by 2. So this is going to be our formula, not our equation, sorry. So this is going to be our formula for today. Base times height divided by 2. So if you notice, we're going to need two expressions. We're going to need the base and my height, and we're going to multiply them. That's how we're going to start. The divided by 2 is going to be our very last step. So base times height divided by 2. Notice how this problem gives us 3 expressions instead of 2. We only need 2. They're giving you the third one to try to trick you. It's just there to try to trick you. So make sure you pick the correct ones. My base is 4x plus 3. It's the bottom one of the triangle. Your height is the one that goes straight up and down. So your height is the one that goes straight up and down. So my height is 5x plus 1. So those are the only 2 equations that we need to be able to solve for this problem. Other than that, the third equation they give us is just there to trick us. So we're going to ignore it. So to solve for this, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to multiply. So base, which is going to be 4x plus 3, and we're going to multiply it by my height, which in this case, it's 5x plus 1. So 5x plus 1. So first, we're going to focus on this. We're going to, like I said, we're going to focus on base times height. Then we'll worry about the divided by 2 at the very end. So we're going to go ahead and multiply these out. So to multiply them, you're going to use FOIL. So we're going to use FOIL to multiply them. So we're going to start by multiplying the first by the first. The first one on my first parentheses by the first one on my second parentheses. So that's going to be 4x times 5x. So 4 times 5, 4 times 5, that's going to be 820. Then they both have in common the letter x. So they both have in common the letter x, so we're going to go ahead and copy the letter x. And our last step when we're multiplying these is don't forget to add your exponents. So I know you cannot see them, but remember, if you cannot see them, it's because it's the number 1. So you have exponents of the number 1. So 1 plus 1, that's going to give us 2. Once you have done that, then what we're going to do is move on to our second multiplication in FOIL. So you're going to do the outer ones. So the first one times the last one, the outer ones. 4x times 1. 4x times 1, that's the same as a positive 4x. Okay, then you do your third multiplication. So we're going to multiply the ones inside of our parentheses, the ones that are closest to each other, so the inner ones. So 3 times 5x. 3 times 5x. 3 times 5, that's going to give me a positive 15, and it has the letter x in it, so we're going to go ahead and copy that letter x. And our last multiplication is the last by the last. So 3 times 1. 3 times 1, that's going to give me a positive 3. So once you have done this, now what you have to do is you have to combine like terms. So once you multiply 4 times for FOIL, you're going to combine like terms. So to combine like terms, we're going to combine the ones that have the same variable. So in this case, it's going to be the ones in the middle. So we're going to combine by adding them in this case. So we're going to leave the 20x to the power of 2 as it is. We're not going to do anything with it. And we're going to leave the plus 1 as it is, the plus 3, sorry, as it is. We're not going to do anything with it. Now you're going to multiply the ones in the middle. So you're going to do, not multiply, add, because you're combining, sorry. So you're going to do 4 plus 15. 4 plus 15, that's going to give me a positive 19. 4 plus 15. That gives you a positive 19. Both of them have the same letter. That's why we were combining like terms. So it would be a positive 19x. Once you're here, once you multiplied all the way, so if you notice, we did our first part. We did base times height and we multiply them. Then now you can divide by 2. You can worry about the divided by 2. And you only do this when you're finding the area of a triangle. Only when you're finding the area of a triangle. So you're going to go ahead and divide by 2, the equation that you got. This is my last step, to divide by 2. To divide by 2, you're going to divide only the coefficients, only the numbers, the big numbers, the numbers at the front of your x, the coefficients. You're only going to divide those by 2. So 20 divided by 2, that's going to give me 10. And the x to the power of 2 stays the same. Then you do 19 divided by 2. 19 divided by 2 is going to give you a decimal. So make sure that if it gives you a decimal, you turn it into a decimal. Or if you want to leave it as a fraction, go ahead and leave it as a fraction. I'm going to turn it into a decimal. So that's going to be plus 9.5. And my letter x stays the same, the letter x. And the last one that you're going to do is going to be 3 divided by 2. Again, that gives you a decimal. You can leave it as a fraction or you can turn it into a decimal. I'm going to go ahead and turn it into a decimal. So plus 1.5. And this would be my final answer. So the area of this triangle is 10x to the power of 2 plus 9.5x plus 1.5. So let me show you another problem with area of a triangle. So let's say they give you this triangle. It's a bad drawing, but just go with it. So we're going to find the area of this triangle. And let's say they give you 2x plus 1 and 3x plus 2. That's my base and that's my height. So remember, you're doing base times height divided by 2. So on here, we're going to start by doing my base and my height. So I'm going to do 2x plus 1, and I'm going to multiply it by 3x plus 2. And you're going to multiply it again by using FOIL. So I'm going to multiply 4 different times. I'm going to multiply the first by the first. So 2x times 3x. So 2 times 3, that's a positive 6. And then they both have the letter x, so the letter x. And don't forget to add your exponents for this one. So 1 plus 1 is going to give me an exponent of 2. Then we move on to our second multiplication, which is going to be the outer ones. So the first one by the last one, so 2x times 2. 2 times 2, that's a positive 4. And then we have the letter x, so the letter x. Your third step is to multiply the ones that are closer to each other, so the inner ones. So 1 times 3x, 1 times 3 is going to give me a positive 3. And it has the letter x, so we copy that letter x. And the last multiplication, number 4, is going to be the last one times the last one. So 1 times 2, 1 times 2, that's a positive 2. Again, you're using FOIL to multiply. Once you have multiplied 4 times, then you can combine your like terms. So on here, my 6x to the power of 2 stays the same, and the plus 2 stays the same as well. So you just have to combine the ones in the middle because they have the same variable. You're combining like terms. So 4 plus 3, 4 plus 3 is going to give us 7. So plus 7, and they both have the letter x, so the letter x. Now, once you're here, once you multiply the base times the height, then you can worry about dividing by 2. So we're going to divide this problem by 2. So that's my last step, to divide by 2. And you're going to only divide the coefficients by 2. So 6 divided by 2, that's going to give us a 3. And then the x to the power of 2 stays the same. Now you're going to do 7 divided by 2. That's going to give you a fraction or a decimal, whichever you want to write it as, which I'm going to write it as 3.5. And the letter x stays the same. And the last one that you're going to divide is 2 divided by 2, which is going to give you a positive 1. And that would be your answer. So this is the area of my triangle. 3x to the power of 2 plus 3.5x plus 1. Right, so now that we've looked at area of triangle, let's go ahead and look at volume for polynomials. So volume using polynomials. So on here, we're going to be able to find the volume now. This is our new problem. Now that we've looked at area, we're going to be able to solve for volume. When you're solving for volume, you're going to be multiplying 3 different coefficients. So if you notice, this is our first problem, and our first problem gives us a cube. So we're going to be able to find the volume of this by multiplying 3 coefficients. The 3 coefficients are going to be length times width times height. So we need 3 coefficients to find our volume. But if you notice carefully on our first problem, they only give me 1 coefficient. They give me 4x to the power of 2. We're going to say this is to the power of 2. So 4x to the power of 2. They only give me one expression when we need 3 different expressions. That's because this is a cube. So that means that all the sides are the same. So all your sides are the same. They're equal to each other. So not only is my length 4x to the power of 2, but so is my width, 4x to the power of 2 and 4x to the power of 2. So my height and my width are also 4x to the power of 2. So when you multiply these to find your volume, you're going to do 4x to the power of 2 times 4x to the power of 2 times 4x to the power of 2. So when you multiply them, you're going to follow 3 steps. So our first step is you're going to multiply. So we're going to multiply our coefficients. Our second step is you're going to copy. We're going to copy the variable or rewrite the variable. And your last step is to add. You're going to add the exponents. So I'm going to start by breaking this problem down so it becomes easier. So I'm going to multiply 4x to the power of 2 times 4x to the power of 2. I'm just going to focus on those 2 right now. So we multiply my coefficients. So 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is going to give me a 16. Once you multiply, then you can move on to step 2, which is to copy your variables. So we're going to copy the variable, which is the letter x, and your last step is to add. So you're going to add the exponents. 2 plus 2, that's going to give us the number 4. Okay, so now if you notice though, I have an extra times 4x to the power of 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it down and I'm going to multiply it now to this one. So I'm going to go ahead and follow the steps again. I'm going to go to step 1 and repeat. So 16 times 4, multiply my coefficients, is going to give me 64. Then copy the letters, copy the variable, which is the letter x, and add your exponent. So 4 plus 2. 4 plus 2, that's going to give us the number 6. And that would be our volume. So that's our answer. So the volume for this shape is 64x to the power of 6. Let's look at another problem. So problem number 2, in this case, we're gonna be doing the same thing. So we're still gonna be multiplying. So we're gonna multiply our length times our width times our height. We're still following the same steps. So on here, we're gonna multiply, and the order doesn't matter in which you multiply them in. They should still give you the same answer at the end. So we're gonna multiply 3h to the power of 2 times 2h times h to the power of 2. So I'm multiplying all three of them. And we're gonna follow our same steps. We're gonna multiply the coefficients, copy the variable, and add the exponents. So, and again, I'm gonna break it down so it's easier for us. So I'm gonna start with these two. So I'm gonna multiply our coefficients, 3 times 2. 3 times 2 is gonna give me the number 6. Then we're gonna copy the variable, which is the letter h, and we're gonna add our exponent. So we're gonna do 2 plus, and if you notice, we cannot see an exponent here, but there's still an exponent there. It's the number 1. So if you cannot see an exponent next to your variable, it's gonna be the number 1. So 2 plus 1, that's gonna give us a 3. And now that I've done that, I have an extra times h to the power of 2. So now I have to bring it down. So times h to the power of 2. And I'm gonna go ahead and repeat the steps. So I'm gonna go back to step 1 and do 6 times. And in this case, again, I don't have a number, but we assume it's the number 1. So 6 times 1, that's gonna give me the number 6. Then you're gonna copy the letter, which is the letter h, and you're gonna add your exponents. 3 plus 2, that's gonna give you the number 5. So this would be my volume. And let's go ahead and take a look at one last one. So on here, again, we're gonna repeat our steps. We're gonna be able to find our volume by doing length times width times height. So on here, we're gonna do 7x to the power of 2 times 7x to the power of 2 times 7x to the power of 2. And to solve for this, I'm gonna go ahead and write my steps down again. We're gonna be using the same steps, which is to multiply our coefficients, copy the variable, and add the exponents. And again, I'm gonna break this problem down. So I'm gonna start by multiplying these two out. So 7 times 7 is gonna give me a 49. Then we copy our variable, which is the letter x. So copy our variable. And then last but certainly not least, we're gonna add our exponents. 2 times 2, that's gonna give me the number 2. Once you have done this, then you can repeat your steps again, because if you notice, I still have an extra negative 7x to the power of 2, which I'm gonna bring down and I'm gonna multiply to this one now. So repeat our steps, 49 times 7, multiply our coefficients, which is gonna be 343. Copy our variable, which is the letter x, and add our exponents, which is gonna be 2 plus 2, which is gonna give me the number 4. And this would be my volume.